thanks for looking at today's video, and today we're just continuing on with that M48A3 Patton build that we started over a week ago now probably. I've been trying to get some more videos out, but just been busy with a few other things, so continue on today anyway. And last time we unboxed it, this time we're going to start building it. Have a quick look at the two sort of there like we did last time. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the tracks on. So the first thing I do is just go around with the file, and any of these sort of pewter resin kits, they just need a bit of a clean up, and I'll just sort of go along and tidy up any flash see on the model. So any bits that just sort of stick out, I'll just give them a quick file, and it's pretty soft, so it does break off pretty easy, it does come off pretty easy. So then next, just where they join, which is here, this surface here and the surface inside the main part of the tank, so I'll just give them a bit of a scratch up. So just to give it something to bond to, and same on this side, just scratch them up a little bit. And there's a heap of different ways people do this, so you know, this is just one way that I do it. So it's more, I guess the videos I do are more about just an idea and looking at the kits. So on the inside of the track sections, I guess you'd call them, so the sides of the 15mm one, there's a left and a right. So left and an arrow and right arrow. So when you get your tank, if you have the engine facing towards you, the engine decks face towards you and the front's pointing forward, your left side's your left side, and they have this little divot in it, and then a little like a lug there, and you just line them up and they'll fit in together, and it'll give you the alignment. So all I do is just grab some super glue. This is just store-bought supermarket super glue. Use whatever you want, and put a bit on each side. And that's the right side, so that right side track, same thing, the lugs will line up, and get that together. And then whilst I'm holding that with my fingers, I'll spin it around and I'll do the other side. And now it's facing towards me, but it's going to line up. So get those lugs lined up, whack it together, and then sometimes I'll put a rubber band or something around it, or a piece of tape to hold it together, because that's sort of the lower section finished for now. It's for I just let that bond. Normally give it with super glue, I'd give it a good 20 minutes probably before I come back to it and touch it again. So what I'll do is just put that off to the side, and we'll let that bond. Next thing, we'll do something on the small one, the 6mm one. So they just come like that out of the packet like we looked at last time. They have GHQ on the inside, and the same thing again. I just go around either with a file, touch up any little bits of the mold lines that I don't like, or I use a hobby knife, and I'll just go around and tie them up. They actually have pretty good detail for their size. But with the turrets, so here's the turret, and then we've got that commander's sort of command cupola, and that comes on a little sprue. And you can see there the second one in from the left has broken off. That 50 cal's broken off, so you just got to be careful with them, and you can either sprue snip them, but I don't mind just putting them down on the ground and just nipping off that end, and we'll try and straighten up that barrel. They are very thin and very fiddly, so you go along, just trim them up, and then I'll get the sprue snips after that, and I'll just cut one out. Obviously a fair bit's done off camera, just be really careful. I might even cut it through there, just so I can get that different angle. Now we've got that tidied up, and you can just file off any little bits that are burred up on there. And for this, I'll just test fit that inside that turret. Face it any way you want. All right, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to take that off, and then I'll drop a little bit of super glue just on the top. If you hear that annoying noise behind me, it's the cat. It's a rescue cat, and for some reason it likes hanging around me. So there's a big blob of glue there. Use tweezers if you want. Sit that on the turret, and we'll do the same sort of thing to the 15mm one in a sec. So then I'll just place that turret on there, and that means I know it's done. But we're going to prime and paint them anyway, so in a minute we'll pull that apart again, but just so I know that I've done it, I'll put it on there like that. And then we'll come back to the 15mm turret. Next thing I like to do is to work on the barrel. So we've got our barrel here, and it's a little bit crooked and bent and stuff like that. So what I'll do is just get something that's straight, file, that'll do. And I'll just straighten out that barrel a bit, because once they're painted, they don't really like to be bent too much, like straightened too much. So I'll just file off a couple of bits there. Now with the barrel, it has a searchlight fitted on it, so there's this big cable that comes here across the front of the turret, and that's reflected on here. You can see it here where that file is. That's that same cable, so we know that turret fits in like that, and then it will line up. You'll see where it will line up. So just no sort of magic tricks there, just a bit of super glue. And same with the turret, just put it in. I'll hold that for a little bit. Get a good bond, and then I'll put it aside. So being pewtered resin, you just have to hold it a little bit longer. Sometimes I'll prop it up on something, like I'll find something to lean it up against. So I'll just put that off to the side for a second. And I'll come to this one, and this is one that the barrel's been glued on. I did that the other day. I'll just take that out for a second. I glued that barrel on the other day. So the next step, what I do is get a bit of blue tack. I'll drop it into where that Kamada's hatch sits, and then this piece, I'm not actually gluing it in. So that's on that sprue like that. I'll just sit that in that hole. I won't actually glue that in, but yeah, more than welcome to glue it in. Do whatever you want. So, and that's sort of the same bit that we just did on the 6mm one. So when we were doing that turret, that's that section there. So the lower's dried on this one. So the next step, what I'll do is I'll attach that searchlight. So here's one that's broken off the sprue, because it was broken off the sprue when we opened the packet. So that's what it looks like on the sprue. Take it off, give it a little bit of a tidy up. So whether it's with the hobby knife or file, just make sure it looks fairly tidy. And then there's a rib section at the bottom, so that becomes the bottom of the light and lines up with the rib section on the barrel. So just like that. Test fit before gluing. Sorry, my fat finger's in the way. A little bit of super glue across the top, and then I'll sit that on top. And I'll set that aside and let it dry. So that'll be it for this video. So we're slowly getting there. It's just a slow process, but that's the start of our GHQ build. Oh, don't do that. For looking at the two scales together in the same build. So yeah, we're starting to get there, and thanks to everyone who subscribes and leaves a comment or asks a question. Anything follows the channel, anything, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me, it means the world to me. So thank you so much, and we'll continue on with this build later in the week. Thanks very much.